Chapter 18, Horror of the Old One. For a moment he was sure time just stopped for him, his mind trying to comprehend exactly what Rem just said. And due to how absurd and incredulous the mental image for him, his brain failed to do its job. Which means his brain temporarily goes down, again. And it is not helping that he is just awake, and as everyone knows, he is not in his brightest moment when he just woke up. Of course, Rem noticed that the man's mind was going somewhere once again and she wasted no time bringing him back to the living world by pinching his cheeks again. Where at normal days she is sure she is going to enjoy doing this to him, but since the situation now is pretty dire, she feels nothing but irritation. Okay, maybe a bit of amusement but only a bit. Eren-sama. Don't go back to sleep or go somewhere else. This is a serious matter. She said seriously while playing with the pseudo-saber's cheeks. She must admit, he does have soft cheeks. Now she can understand why he seems to enjoy doing this to her. All white. All white. He said as he flailed in her grip. He places both his hands on top of hers and easily removes them from him, much to Rem's annoyance with how easy he did it. Then he begins to rub his eyes, after that he shakes his head strongly. Okay, okay. He takes a deep breath before letting it out slowly. What are you saying again? The capital is under attack. Rem said almost in a yelling voice. Eren stares at her, face a mixture of disbelief and confusion. The capital. As if the capital, the main city of Lugnica. Yes. The capital. As if the most guarded city in this land. Yes. The dash. Eren-sama. Now is not the time. Rem snapped at him with an irritated look. Sorry. Sorry. Eren hastily apologized. It's just. He took another deep breath, hand pinching his nose, and he shook his head, dismissing any useless thought. Alright, alright. Explain to me from the beginning. Rem opens her mouth, however before she can say anything the door of Eren's room flung open rather forcefully, making both she and Eren turn to it. Eren. Quick, we have to use still sleep. Emilia yelled when noticed Eren still in his sleeping outfit. Emmy. What dash? Look. There's no time. Go change your clothes. Rem, prepare the dragon. We are leaving soon. Yes, Emilia-sama. Rem bowed to the half-elf before she gave one last look at Eren, who was only blinking in confusion. Then she left the half-elf and the pseudo-saber alone. Emmy. Eren raised a single eyebrow at her. Why are we going to the capital? He inquired. Why? Emilia sounded flabbergasted and shocked at the question. Why? Isn't it obvious? Eren. The capital is under attack. So. He pressed in an uncaring voice. Pardon me for my lack of enthusiasm, but you do realize that Lugnica is dubbed as the kingdom that is strongest, right? Even if right now we are weakened, but we are still strong, Wallachia that harbors ill feelings toward us even thinks thrice, not twice but thrice, before attacking. He tilted his head. Do you get what I mean? Even if the capital attacked, there won't be anything big happen, it's still going to dash. I know, but I still want to go, I can't just let it be like that. Emilia cut him off with a straight voice. Eren. There are people in there. Even if the capital manages to repel the attacker, but there's still dash. Alright, I get it. It was his turn to cut her. He took another deep breath. You're right, I'm sorry for not thinking this through. My mind is kind of a mess now, and Emilia flinched, and guilt started to crawl inside her stomach. Due to the sudden urgency, she becomes panicked, and she forgets that Eren is actually sick. He just recovered from 2 days of sleeping. No, I'm sorry, She bit her lips and looked down, feeling guilty and ashamed. I did not consider your situation. You just woke up after nearly. Gods, why is she yelling at him like that? She should know better. Perhaps getting woken up in the middle of the night is also bothering her. You can stay if you want, Eren, you're just recovering after all, and I don't want you to dash. No, let's agree that we both were at fault. He cut her again while sighing this time. You were right about we should go, your royal candidate after all. If she is not going, then imagine just how bad her image in front of nobles could be. She is already in a thin line due to her heritage, and if she does not come there, it can be taken as a sign of lacking love for the kingdom. But he doesn't want her to go there. Because something is obviously not right here. In any arcs of the story, never once did the capital of Lugnica attack. be it from another country or outside force, such as the witch cult or group of assassin where Elsa and others belong. Obviously, because assaulting the capital directly is stupid. It was home to the royal guard, despite there being a large slum over there, but it doesn't change that it was the strongest city in this nation. Not to mention their Reinhard van Istria as well, the most powerful character in Re-Zero universe, the one that is capable of going toe-on-toe against Satella herself, the witch that has swallowed half of the world and brought them to their knees. And now there is someone or something out there that blatantly attacks that place, a place where the strongest living being in this world lives. Just what the hell is going on? The capital being attacked? Great gods! How's that even possible? What kind of things did he do to produce such a result? There's no way this was caused by his act. Which means, it was an outsider. Just like the prophecy. Alright, let's go then. He said with a firm expression. Right. Emilia nodded. I will waiting dash. There's no need for that. Aaron hopped from his bed, the moment his feet touched the ground and he stood, a countless gold-colored moth-sized lights started to form around him, shrouding him. They only appear for 1 second before they are all gone and the blonde is no longer in his sleeping outfit but in his armor. I'm ready. He said. The half-elf blinked a few times. She forgot that Aaron can summon his armor anytime, alright. Both of them waste no time getting out of the room and walking toward the entrance of the mansion at a fast pace. Give me the summary of the situation. Aaron asked. We don't know. Emilia answered grimly. We don't know the situation, but we do know that the capital is under attack. How? As one of the important people for Lugnica, Roswell has an emergency alarm in case things like this happen. He handed it to Ram and 10 minutes ago it set off. That was not unexpected. And what time is it now? 4:25 solar time. She answered. We're probably going to be there at 6 then. He murmured. Usually it takes 3 hours from their place to the capital, but that is under normal speed. However, if they push it they can arrive 1/2 hour early. And things probably finished at that time, and either the result is positive or negative. It will be better if they did not come. Still, it will do good things to keep coming for the sake of keeping Emilia's image. If nobles see her there and help people, her image will rise further, especially if she healed someone important. Not to mention he is also curious and wants to know what happened. It wasn't long before they arrived at the front yard, they were granted sight of Rem who pulled a pair of black-colored earth dragon that bonded to the carriage. It is ready, Emilia-sama, Aaron-sama. She informed them. Good. Emilia nodded. We should depart as fast as possible then. Wait. Aaron interjected, making both girls turn to him. If I may know, are we going to be faster if we did not use a carriage? Yes. Rem answered. Aaron-sama can arrive in the capital within an hour or more, but not much, if Aaron-sama does not use the carriage. Then, isn't it better if we go without them? He suggested. Rem shakes her head. We only have 2 dragons. You and Emmy go together, I will be alone, or one of you can dash. Rem/I will be with you. Rem and Emilia offered at the same time. Both girls blinked once before looking at each other, then they awkwardly shifted their gazes away. Aaron also blinked at them, his eyes darted to the duo for a few seconds. Okay. He trailed in an unsure voice. That was awkward. And strange as hell. Unfortunately Rem, I can't bring you with me, it will be only Emmy and me. While Emilia beamed at being chosen, but Rem clearly was not happy judging from her pouty face, and Aaron quickly added. You have to stay here, just in case something happens. There's no guarantee that the village will remain safe. He maybe doesn't know who the attacker that assaulted the capital right now, but it could be witch cult, and if it did then he doesn't think they will be happy he killed Betelgeuse. Or it could be another group since jumping conclusion to witch cult is too fast, but he doesn't care. He already feel close to the village, he likes them. He enjoyed his time with Petra when helping her design cloth and teasing her, he enjoyed his time with Luca when teaching him how to swing an axe and telling him stories, he enjoyed his time with Ken and other young men when they were joking and chatting. And while he is not that close to them. Not as Rem and Emmy. But the thought of letting them die left a very bitter taste and an unpleasant feeling in his mouth and stomach. Rem's complaints seem to die in her throat when notice his serious look. She slowly nods in return. Very well, Rem shall stay here and look over the village. And inform Beatrice-san or at least find a way to contact her when you are not with her so she can teleport you if things get wrong. Eren said with a firm look. I don't want something bad to happen to you, Rem, so please don't push yourself. He added in a softer voice. Rem feels her heart beat faster for a second when hears that kind of tone from him. Don't worry, Rem won't charge alone if she finds something suspicious. She assured the blonde gently. Eren-sama will find Rem when he goes home with food ready. A Woolgarm's meat. While cooking the demon beast is not an appealing idea for her, not to mention she has to hunt one as well, but the image of her precious person looking so pleased and happy while eating is too much to let go of. And now his face that turned into a bright expression made her heart flutter. Really? Yes. Very well. I will be back home as fast as possible. The way he twitched after that, Rem sure was about to hug her. Despite how he looked, she knew that Eren Pendragon is actually affectionate to someone he considered close. He just hesitated to express it since he was afraid it would make him look silly and bother people. Silly Eren-sama, Rem doesn't mind if he hugs her. Still, he is going to leave her. And goes with Emilia-sama, alone. The thought gives her an unpleasant feeling and she needs to do something as reassurance to calm her feelings. Eren's eyes widened when a finger touched his lips. He felt soft pressure on his chest and found himself staring at the beautiful face of the demon that smiled at him while hugging his body. Rem shall take that as a promise, she said kindly. The blonde only can blink at the sudden closeness and having his personal space invaded, mind taken by surprise. Sure then. He agreed in an unsure voice, unknown where this was going. However, he is not that stupid as he realizes what Rem actually trying to do. Emilia's glare can't be more obvious after all. He feels heat start to creep to his cheeks when he smells the blue-haired Oni, even if they just wake up and probably not have any chance to take bath, but Rem's smell certainly still. Good. I. He was at a loss of words for a moment before he shook his head. I will go now then, he said as he turned to Emilia, who looked at them with a flat face. Let's go, Emmy. Yeah, let's. She sounded not as enthusiastic as before. Eren wisely ignored her since he knew saying anything will only make him start to dig his own grave, and turned to the dragon. Truthfully, he can't ride one. His riding ability only allows him to ride normal animals and not magical beasts. However, Subaru proved to be capable of riding one, so surely he could as well. And unlike him, he had ridden a horse in the village when he spent time there, and let's just say it was quite experience. Eren. Emilia called him. I can't ride it, she confessed, her face marked by a pink hue. I don't know how to ride it. I don't even know how to ride a horse. The dragon is tame enough, Eren replied. I'm sure you can ride it even if you don't know how. He turned to Rem. It is tame, right? It is. Don't worry about that, Eren-sama, Rem assured him. But it still can get out of control if something happens, and I also don't know how to sit in there properly. Emilia's face became reddened at this point. And we were in a hurry if we got split up somehow. You're right, there is a chance whoever is attacking the capital will also block the path there, Eren murmured after a moment of thinking. Very insightful of you to notice this, good Emmy. He praised her, who became bashful at his word. Alright, then you will ride with me. We will use only one dragon. And with that, Eren started to walk toward the dragon, trying to get on it and missing Emilia's happy face and Rem glowering at her from behind. The blonde dismisses his armor and is clad in his black coat outfit. The armor will make him too heavy and decrease the speed. Then he sits on the reptilian creature, trying to get as comfortable as he can, and his ride seems not to mind. After making sure he sat in a good position, he turned to his friend. Alright, come on, Emmy. Eren gestured as he extended his hand to her. Emilia stared at the offered hand for a second before she took it and allowed herself to be pulled. Then she sat behind him and started to get herself as comfortable as she could. Eren? Yes? It will be fine, right? I mean, the wind and... The pseudo-saber's lips curled upward at that. It was cute in his opinion. The divine protection that this earth dragon has will assure us that no wind will harm us, surely you know that? He asked rhetorically, and the half-elf had the decency to look sheepish at that. As for the ride... Well, if you hold on to something firm enough, then everything would be fine. Hold to what? Good question, Eren thought as he noticed there was nothing that can be used. Well, you can hold my waist. Like this? Emilia's hands snaked to his waist, circling them, and the half-elf bent her body forward while clutching him tightly. Eren felt something soft pressed on his back and he blushed when realized that it was Amelia's chest. While her chest is not as big as Rem's, but it still has some shape that makes him feel them. His blush only intensified when the girl was now practically resting on his shoulder. He could even feel her breath on his neck and smell her. Yummy. He tried his best to not squeak, but obviously, he failed. Too close. Too close. He stuttered. Sorry. Amelia quickly retracted herself from him, albeit her hands still there, but she no longer pressed herself against him. There was an awkward silence between them, their faces were red, Amelia literally squirming in her seat, and Eren seemed doesn't know what to say. Meanwhile, Rem's right eye twitches uncontrollably. It was so sweet, so cute what just happened, but it made her want to let out a groan of frustration. Why can't it happen with her? It seems Amelia-sama is more cunning than I thought. She thought while huffing inwardly. Anyway, hold on to me but don't be too close, alright? Eren started, breaking the ice while trying to regain his composure. Oh okay. Amelia stuttered and gripped his waist, circling his stomach while trying her best to not lean too forward at him. He turned back to Rem and gave the Oni a nod. We will leave then. Alright, be careful on your way, Eren-sama, Amelia-sama. Rem replied with a bow. Eren only gives a small grunt before he maneuvers the dragon he rides. Briefly he wondered just what was waiting for them. They were probably going to arrive in 1 hour and a half at most, but he was sure they would be there in less than that. Nevertheless, it is plenty of time to make a plan. This is clearly going to be a very long ride. With one flick of the long leather reins in his hands, the magical creature let out a small snort before it started to run. Whoa. Yemi. Your hands. Go up. Sorry. He feels his blush now creep to his neck as he tries his best to keep his mind forward and calm, and just wake up, clearly not helping that every male gets boner in the morning after all, while staring forward to the dark path in front of him. As he thought, this will be a very long ride and an awkward one as well. It has been 20 minutes ever since our departure. There's no conversation between us, only solemn silence that is filled with the sound of winds rushing and the earth dragon's reptilian limbs that trot in the ground. It's because I don't know what to say, and I'm sure Amelia also thinks that. I don't know what is in her mind right now, and I can't find myself to care about it. I know that was thought to belong to an ass and a jerk, but after getting through the short awkwardness, my mind immediately focused on the thing that I was going to face soon. The capital was being attacked. I can understand Priestella, despite its status as one of the 5 major cities in Ludnica and a place that used to be the main trading stocks with Kararaji, but it is not safe. Priestella is not safe. It was located on the edge of the land, meaning it has less path to evacuate if something happens, since the only choice they have is to cross the Tigresi river that separates it from Kararaji, and sails through a ship are way slower than using Earth Dragon or a mount in the land. And meaning it is also very far from the main city. If an attack happened, then it would take at least an hour for the capital's reinforcement to arrive there. I doubt there will be a city that remains by that time if it is facing full frontal assault. Arc 5 is proof of this. The witch cult practically crippled the city and took control of it in less than a day. But the capital? The capital is in the center of Ludnica. It is the main fortress, it is where Ludnica is strongest, and moreover, it is where Reinhard fucking Van Tasticastria lives. Even Pandora, who can control reality around her, is not stupid enough to confront him directly. Pandora, who is respected and feared by the witch cult, a cult filled with fanatics that won't even think twice to jump at Spike to impale themselves. Yeah, that was clear enough to make anyone in this world think thrice before deciding to engage him. Wallachia is reluctant to assault Ludnica after their emperor meets Reinhard, an entire country hesitant to attack their weakened rival because of one person. Just showing how much worth Reinhard is. And now there's someone out there that boldly attacks him. Under any normal circumstance, I would laugh my ass off while rolling on the ground because that was so ridiculous beyond any measure. Even right now my mind is still whispering doubt to me. But there is another part of me. Another whispered that this is wrong. Something is not right. And I don't know what I should do. I try to make any plan, I try to make any scenario in my mind, I try to imagine all possibilities. And I come out with nothing. This can be a fluke, an act of suicide, and I won't be surprised if it was. However, at the same time, this act was too stupid to the point that even an idiot won't even consider it. But I know it is not. I tensed when I felt Amelia's grip loosen and her hand brushed my thigh. I also felt there was a weight on my back. Emmy? I called while tilting my head to look back, I notice a trail of silver from the corner of my vision. She sounded tired and she was shaking for a moment. Wah. Oh sorry, Aaron. She murmured as she straightened herself in her seat. I quirked my eyebrows and tried to get a better look at her from my position. You're tired. I stated. Yeah, I'm still sleepy. She muttered while raising one hand and rubbing her eyes. That was a surprise given we went back to bed early today. Trouble in sleeping? I asked. You can say so. I briefly glanced at the sky. It was still dark, the sun still has yet to be seen, and we still have some time before reaching our destination. I pulled the leather reins softly, giving my ride a signal to slow down and stop. The beast clearly was smart enough to recognize it as it started to slow down. Aaron? Amelia called me from behind, obviously noticing what I did. We are going to stop for a moment, I said as the earth dragon finally stopped. I pat Amelia's hand and she releases her grip from me, then I hop down from the dragon. Aaron? What's wrong? She asked. Nothing much, go to the front, Emmy. Aaron, I can't dash. You are not going to drive, I will, just go. Sure then. She moves from behind to the front while I remove my coat. Here. I handed it to her. Wear this. Okay. She took it with a confused face before deciding to wear it, and after she did, I hop back to the dragon and take a seat behind her, then I circle my arms around her and take the leather reins. Aaron? She called, her voice became high-pitched. Unlike when she was behind me, I was practically taller than her and my hands were also longer, so there is still a gap between us and my head also above hers since the back seat is higher. You can sleep while resting on me, we can't have you look tired in front of people. Can't have her fall asleep when she's on my back, she can fall from the ride and I don't know it, that would be a disaster. Yeah. But dash. Off we go. I said as I flicked the reins once more and the dragon started to walk again, cutting Amelia from protesting further. Amelia is my friend and while she is not the closest but she is still a close one. I don't mind being this close to her. Except if things get too far, like having her asset pressed to me or when we are getting too close. Yeah, this is close, I know, but I do not see her face at least so. Though I still feel heat in my cheeks, god damn it Aaron. Stay focused. Amelia is still tense under me, I can feel she is pretty nervous so I decided to comfort her. Hey, calm down, you're pretty tense. Relax. I added with a sigh. Emmy, try to rest on me okay? Oh okay. She did as I asked, resting her body on me and I felt her warm body. She was still tense and nervous judging by how she was still as a rock, but I can feel that she is trying to relax, she mumbling something under her breath but I can't hear it. I did not make any comment or ask and kept my eyes to the front, I already memorized the path to the capital since it was actually not that complicated. It was dark in here but I still can see perfectly well. If I recall we should turn to the left after this, there's a tree that is marked where there you are. I grip the reins and give a tug of direction to my ride and it obeys my order without making any noise. Another silence descends on us, I keep focusing on my ride and on the street to ensure we do not get lost. Briefly, I looked down at Amelia and noticed that apparently, she fell asleep, her chest raised and sunk peacefully. I only smiled at the sight before focusing back on the front, it seems this ride won't be that bad after all. In hindsight, I should have known to not tempt fate like that. Something is wrong. It has been 50 minutes ever since I left the mansion, everything around me was still surrounded by forest, and the sun still not showing any sign to show up. Something is wrong. The clouds in the sky were pretty thick, even if it was a night I barely could see anything since the moon got blocked by them. And is it just me or? I swear I saw something strange with the moon before it got shrouded by clouds. It's almost like broken? Something is. The dragon I rode suddenly let out a shriek and started to buckle, this made my body jerk and I quickly balanced myself so I did not fall or throw. Hey! I barked as I tried to calm the animal down while pulling the rein. Calm down. Calm down. It refuses to calm though, struggling and flailing wildly as if it was a wild animal instead of a tamed and intelligent one like a moment ago. And because of that Amelia slipped from my grip and fell to the ground. Fuck. I cursed aloud. Grapha. The earth dragon let out a shriek and growl as it stomped the ground wildly. At this rate, it is going to hit Amelia. I waste no time raising my hand and bringing it down, punching it directly in the head. And seeing my punch can easily destroy a boulder? It is certainly very effective. It let out a pathetic whimper as it began to stumble in its legs. I jumped out from the dragon just in time when it collapsed and sprawled to the ground. I ignored it though as my mind instantly went to Amelia, god damn it. Hopefully she's fine. I waste no time rushing at her and scooping her in an instant. Emmy? Are you okay? Emmy. I shook her lightly and she let out a whimper. Did the fall do big damage to her? No, unlikely. Amelia is stronger than a normal human due to her heritage. She can jump straight 2 meters if she wants. Her endurance though, while true they are only a few levels above normal people. Still, that was a bit nasty fall. I can see their blood on her forehead as I try to wake her up. But she did not. She moaned, whimpered, and trembled in my grip. She was sweating badly as if right now she is in the middle of a horrendous nightmare. Emmy. 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 I yell directly to her ear when she still has not awakened after I use a gentle method, and it looks working as she let out a loud gasp, her eyes wide open in an instant and I can see the panic in there. Emmy. I called, what is dash? I was being cut off as she gripped my hand strongly, clutching on it as if it was a thing that was keeping her alive, her violet eyes and face expressing nothing but deep fear and panic. We have to go now. She stammered frantically. We have to leave. We have to run. Chichi coming for us. Aaron. Chichi searching for us. Run. Leave. This is so unlike her. What makes her so terrified? What she saw in her dream. And who the hell is she talking about? Emmy, calm down, I dash. The spirits are dying. She screamed at my face. They are dying. They are warped. They are eaten, and no more reincarnation. She exploded into a mess, her eyes started to get wet. Oh gods, Aaron, they all. They all. She began to hyperventilate, her breath became unstable and I quickly acted. I slapped both my hands to her cheeks, not too hard of course, and force her to look into my face. My calm and sharp green eyes meet her panic and afraid violets. Listen. To me. I said as firmly as I could. Emmy, I don't know what caused this panic but you have to calm down. Explain to me Ev dash. I was being cut once again as she grabbed my arms, freeing herself and looking into me in the eyes. We don't have time. We have to flee right now. We dash. As she started to rant I clicked my tongue, damn she began to panic. Just what terrifying her so much? We have to leave. She pulled me to stand, we still can make it, we still out from his range and dash. And she suddenly stiffened, like a puppet that had its strings pulled for a moment, then her eyes rolled to the back and she slumped as if the strings were cut down. Emmy. I quickly caught her. Shit. Shit. What the fucking hell actually happened right now? Just what in the name of Sage of Sixth Path and Azura is going on here? She's right, you have to leave now. Multiple voices speak, and instantly my whole body becomes alert. I rose to my feet, I called Excalibur to my hand in an instant and my armor started to manifest around me. Who's there? I barked. The voices. It comes from almost all directions. Am I surrounded? An ambush? Is this what Amelia is trying to tell me? Damn. I let my guard down too much. You need to leave now, both of you. It comes from behind this time and I waste no time to spun, searching for the unknown and... I gaped at the... thing. Creature. Woman. That stood a few feet away from me. She was... transparent. She looked like not solid. Her whole body was blue, light blue, reminding me of the sea, everything is blue. Save for her long hair that reached her back, its color was green, emerald green like a color of forest and her eyes brown, whole brown, from sclera to pupils. And she was pretty, beautiful, dare I say the most attractive woman I ever saw. Surpassing even Amelia. It's not like because she's so beautiful to the point like an angel but... there's this feeling. She's beautiful, but her beauty looks so... humane. So... right. It was... truly a sight to behold. And the fact she naked like a baby that was just born with a figure that will make any man drool is not helping my mind. Thank you for your compliment, coming from someone like you perhaps it means something. I jolted out from my stupor when she spoke, her lips were unmoving, her face set into a smile expression. It was at that moment I realized that despite how humane she looked, save for the skins and eyes, that she was anything but one. Who? I'm at a loss for words and I can feel my lips begin to dry. What are you? She's obviously not human, her appearance clearly shows that, but what bothers me the most is her presence. She is not human, but she is also not demi-human, she is not animal, she is not plant, she is not. Not. She is. She is. Beyond that. Beyond human. Beyond demi-human. Beyond. Servants. What are you? I feel myself step back unconsciously, eyes wide and heart beating faster than normal. Cold sweats started to break and wash over me. Is this the person that Amelia spoke of? No wonder she reacts like that, as a spirit contractor she can communicate with them or understand what they said at least, and this woman that stands in front of me is. But still. She said it was he, but it's a she. Could it be that she got it wrong? No. Not with the way she panicked a moment ago, she can't be wrong. Do not worry, child, I am not the one who is responsible for your friend's condition. I do put her to sleep, but it is better than her panicking. Her voice. Voices. Also disturbing. It was like hearing children, teenagers, adult women, and grandmother, and it wasn't just one, but multiple, each of them holding multiple voices. Almost like hundreds of voices spoke as one. Wait. She knew I'm worried about Amelia, is she? I can't read your mind, not completely, only the surface. I keep my body tense, never once I let my guard down as I stare at her ghastly figure directly. Listen, I don't have much time. Like she said, he is coming from you, you and her. She gives a pointing look to Amelia, who is lying on the ground, before shifting her gaze back to me. Then she took steps toward me and I raised Excalibur. Don't get any closer. I ordered. She did not pause and kept walking forward. I was about to speak again when she suddenly disappeared from my sight and appeared directly in my face. Fast. Calm down, child, I do not wish to harm you. She holds my hand and prevents me from moving. Excalibur, her grip is strong. Strong. And I mean really strong, to the point I can't move. Not just she's fast enough to move to me before I can react, but she also. What is she? Listen to me, child. She removes her grip from my sword and stares at me directly in the eyes. You have to leave from here, away from Lugnica. This kingdom has beyond saving. Right now there's nothing you can do. What do you mean beyond saving? I demanded, my nostril flared. Lugnica is powerful kingdom, and there's also Reinhard van Astria in there and dash. Reinhard van Astria has fallen. I feel my blood freeze in an instant. What is this woman trying to say? Reinhard has fallen. That was impossible. That was absurd. I yelled at her, voice filled with disbelief. Reinhard losing. That was equal to saying that Heracles lost against Sasaki Kojiro. Which is equal to impossible. Seeing he can't do anything to harm him, literally. Reinhard van Astria is the strongest person I know, he's pretty much invincible. He can't die since he can raise once again due to Phoenix protection, and he also seems immune to mental attack. He is also capable of predicting his opponent's attack and has magic resistance, though it is different from mine, and much, much more. The woman in front of me merely stares with an impassive face, despite how humane her face looks, but there is not a single twitch of muscles in there. You're right, Reinhard van Astria is strong, the strongest as matter of fact. But you must know that he is the worst opponent for him, a natural enemy, and Reinhard van Astria walked straight to him. I feel my lips become dry after hearing that. Natural enemy. Like Gilgamesh and Emiya. The moment Emiya pulls out his reality marble, Gilgamesh is as good as lose. In their Emiya projections are countless, he can move his swords faster than Gilgamesh, and for every weapon he fires Emiya will always have their copies ready. Even if he tries to pull EA, there's no way Emiya will let him do that. The only chance Gilgamesh can win is if he goes all out from the beginning, and given his personality, I doubt that will happen. You need to get out of here. Out of this island, don't let him find you or the half-elf. Wait. 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 Just wait. I demanded, unconsciously I took a step back and held my head. Shit. This. All of this. It's. Explain. I said to her. Look, I don't know how much time we have, but I need to know at least the situation. I need to know who I'm going to face. The entity in front of me looks at my eyes directly, as if trying to search for something. It only for a moment before she nodded. It all began with the head of the Karsten who tried to hunt Hakugi. It has been cited to be around after all due to the fog it produces. I blinked, crush hunting Hakugi. But doesn't she do that because of Subaru's offer? So why does she go out like that? Then again, if I recall, she did intend to hunt Hakugi, she prepared weapons and army after all. Subaru only tell her the specific location and guide her to face it directly. But what she didn't expect is that Hakugi was already on its way to the capital. It met them midway, and since that girl split her army to track it down first, things didn't go well for them. I grimaced. So in summary, Crush tried to track Hakugi by spreading her army, but one of them ran straight to it. Yeah, talk about bad luck. Wait, Hakugi heading to the capital. Then does that mean it is the one who is attacking the capital? I asked with slight shock. The blue woman only stared at me for a moment, then her face that set into smiley expression changed, her lips curled down, her eyes narrowed, the way her facial expression move is mechanical, almost like a robot. Those worms. Her voices began to vibrate, fury was clear in there and my surroundings shaking slightly, not big but enough for me to feel it. They try to summon him. They try to enslave him. They are fools. There is something you should abandon and never learn. And they violate it. They violate it and summon that abomination. Even when she yells and raging, but her mouth is still not moving, the voices though. It was loud enough to make a wave and brush trees around us. I also noticed there was cracking noise around us. I realized that it was the ground, the earth, they cracked as if an invisible force started to move them, and I realized that this woman caused the earthquake just by being angry. Those mongrels. They don't know what they did. And now he broke free from them. Has grown too powerful. He may not be targeting them for now, but after he is done with you and the half-elf, they will be the next. Her lips still not moving, her beautiful face still set to scowl, she almost looks like a statue, save for the glow in her eyes, they are radiating power, pulsing as if they were alive. Who? I finally found my voice after a moment of silence. Who is he? The entity in front of me curled her lips slightly, her scowling face softened, and even if she did not open her mouth I could tell she was about to say it to me. But it seems fate is not on my side. It was. To call it roar would be mockery, to call it scream would be an insult, to call it shout would be degrading. No. What it was. It was something that. So ugly, so dark, so wrong, so twisted. It was like a voice from a nightmare. Just by hearing that voice, that sound, it gives me pain. My eyes clenched shut, my teeth gritted tightly, my hands moved to my ears to cut my hearing from that voice. Get up. Then her voice came. Unlike whatever that thing's voice, hers was kind, calm, gentle, and soothing. Just by hearing her voice I feel refreshed. It was when I opened my eyes and looked up at her I realized that I was kneeling, that I was writhing in the ground, that I was bleeding from my mouth, ears, and nose, that I was suffering just by hearing the voice of that creature. Lugnica has fallen. Her voices were grim and solemn, as if she already accepted what she spoke and it already passed long ago. You, and that sword is our only hope, but your body is in pain, you can't use it, not with your current condition. She tilted her face to Amelia, who was not far from us. That girl. She has potential thanks to her true nature, but right now she's as good as you. Not to mention her memory started to recover, he just broke the barrier. I want to ask questions, I want to say something, there's so many of them, but right now I can't. Because I feel my head just got pierced by 1,000 needles at the same time, I am barely able to hear her voice now. And the beast of the end died not with bang but with silence, died when he slept, inside a dream, what an irony. Beast of the end? Puck, she is talking about Puck. He died. What's that even mean? And memory. If I recall, Amelia's memory is. I can't heal you, your power and that witch's influence prevent me from affecting you. However, I can give you temporary blessing, enough to ensure you both safety, and for you to be capable of wounding him when he catches up with you. I felt my body shifting, hands touching my face softly, bringing them up, my vision that was blurry started to become focused once again as I caught sight of her beautiful face looking down at me, and the pain in my brain. I already fixed that half-elf, she will be able to think calmer for a few days so she understands the situation and does not panic. You can carry her without fearing her skin will tear apart from your speed, now go child. You're my hope to stop that abomination, save this world, Aaron Pendragon. Before I can say anything to her there is a flash of light, bright enough to blind me and force me to close my eyes once again. It lasted for a few seconds and when I reopened my eyes she's gone. I let out a groan as I slowly stood, I feel good actually. I blinked once as I started to observe my surroundings, my mind felt good, as matter of fact I felt so clear for the first time. Just what the hell happened? I murmured aloud to the empty area. There is no answer of course, only silence. I shouldn't expect someone to answer me in the first place and I need to get out of here. I waste no time approaching Emilia, grab her in bridal style and make sure she's okay. After that I give one last glance behind me, to the direction where Lugnica is supposed to be. To the direction where that nightmarish sounds come from. Even remembering it I still shudder, fear crossed to my mind. Whatever that thing is. It is clearly not good news, and I have no intention to stay here. So I ran back to where I was coming, I ran back to the manor, I pushed my legs forcefully despite not fully recovering, I activated Mana Burst to propel my speed, easily breaking the sound barrier. I know I should worry about Lugnica, about this world, about everything. If things become complicated it means my goal to go home also becomes harder or downright impossible. And now Lugnica is destroyed, this should make me panic and put me to catatonic. But I'm not. Because right now all of them have not crossed my mind, no. What I am thinking right now is to get out from here, away from here, as fast and as soon as possible. Because whatever creature, whatever entity, whatever thing that has destroyed Lugnica and now searching for me and Emilia, is something that is worse than anything my nightmare can produce. He doesn't know how long he has been running, perhaps 5 minutes, perhaps 10 minutes, perhaps more, or perhaps less. But what is certain is that his legs started to hurt and he can feel his body protest, screaming in pain, his legs particularly really begging him to stop. So he stopped. He doesn't know where he is now and how far he is from Erlem village or the mansion, but he's sure he is already far away from the capital. He allows himself to rest on a nearby tree after dropping Emilia gently to the ground while tugging her head to his lap, his breath heavy, sweats washing over him and he clutching his chest. Damn, I still haven't recovered yet. What the hell actually happened to me? His body feels like it's on fire, it was the same sensation he felt when he got a fever, only it was worse. There is pain and soreness over his whole body as if he just ran through training from hell. He doesn't know what happened to him, it was clear that his magic resistance was apparently running wild but it should be cured now or at least become better since he is awake and can do activities like usual. Well, not like usual seeing right now he is panting like there's no tomorrow. Does my body still not accustomed and need more adjustment? Was I using too much mana once again? He is not an expert in this kind of thing truthfully, he can't sense what is wrong with his body after all. It doesn't matter though, he has something more important to think about. What should he do now? By any means. All that happened. All that just. Gods. How? How is all of this? Lugnica is as good as gone, that was what that woman said. And while the idea is so incredulous but that sound, roar, yell, scream, whatever that was clearly not a bluff. It's enough to make him believe that. How is he going back to his home now? The capital is destroyed, Lugnica is gone, the place where the focus of the main story is as good as dead, the place that can send him back to his world is obliterated. The solution to this should be obvious. If he can't find a way to go home then return by death. He has to die and go back to his last checkpoint, preventing this from happening, that is the only option available for him if he wants to go back to his own world. This timeline is as good as dead and gone, nothing useful anymore in here. Except searching for information. Though I don't think that is also available for me. If he wants to go back to search for information he shouldn't run in the first place. He should confront whatever that is chasing him, trying to find more information to be used later after he returns, but he ran. He ran away. Like a coward. He fled because of fear. He is afraid for his life. His life is practically immortal. What a joke. You're my hope to stop that abomination, save this world. The last words of that woman. It was what made him run. It was what made him to escape. It was what made him think clearly. This world. Truthfully, Eren did not care about this world, not at all. If he can go home, then half of this world can burn for all he cares. Okay, that was a lie. He would feel depressed, sad, and self-loathing, but that was what he wished for in the first place, right? He wants to go home. This place is not his home. This is a crazy place where everyone is literally after his head. He who comes from a place of peace. He has no intention to live here. Save this world. He briefly glanced at Emilia. The girl's face was serene, peaceful, and no longer troubled like before when she had a nightmare. Taking a look at her face is all he needs to make his decision. I will go check on this threat, but I can't leave Emmy here alone. He will bring her back to the manor first, secure her, then he will leave. He doesn't know whether the whole world will be reversed or he will be thrown to another timeline and replace his alternate self, but whichever it is, there won't be any harm to make sure this world has some hope. He was about to swoop Emilia again and resume his run, however a shake from a bush nearby alerted him and in an instant he was on his feet, Excalibur drew, and ready. The green plant split, revealing a reptilian creature that was familiar to Eren, who blinked in confusion. What is an earth dragon doing in here? He asked inwardly as he carefully approached the beast. Earth dragon is not a beast that you often find in the wild, especially around here. And there's a saddle on it. A tamed one. Where is the owner? He wondered as he looked around to find someone, but he found none. He gazed back to the beast, hoping to find an answer. And he found it. Now he looks closer and the darkness does not conceal it. This earth dragon is familiar. Its main scale color was blue like a sea, on top of its head there was a tint of green like a forest, and its eyes, they were brown like earth. There's no need to be suspicious or wary. This beast is for him. His legs still hurt, his body still aching, running again would waste his energy further, but the village is no longer far, he can reach them easily now. He returned to Emilia, lifting her body and gently placed her on top of the beast. He is about to climb up to the saddle when he notices there's something strapped on the dragon's saddle. Is that a sword? He mused as he retracted his leg, his eyes observing the object for a moment. Indeed, it was a sword, sheathed and wrapped. Why, there's weapon in here. He was about to take it before he felt a rip in the air, a concentration of mana gathering. Quickly he turned around just in time to see a familiar portal appear in the middle of the space. And through it, come two familiar individuals. Rem? He asked while blinking in surprise. Indeed, they are Rem and Ram, with the former unconscious and carried by the latter. Both of them appear to have just gone through something big, their skirts ripped slightly, exhaustion was clear in Ram's eyes, and there was blood flowing down from her forehead. The same thing occurs to Rem. No, as matter of fact she was worse, her outfit more tattered than her sister's. By the gods, what happened? Eren wasted no time to approach the duo in an instant, his face showing a horrified expression at their condition. Eren-sama. Ram croaked out, seeming surprised to find him here. She only lasted for a few seconds before she dropped to the ground with Rem on top of her. The blonde quickly checked on them. He removed Rem from her sister first and his horrified look intensified and his eyes widened in terror. Rem's arm. He murmured in a shocked voice. What happened to her? He can't finish his word, too horrified at the bleeding stump where the blue Oni left hand was supposed to be. It was wrapped by a bandage that turned to brown due to the dried blood and he felt bile rise to his throat. A attack on the mansion. Ram choked out as she slowly spun to lay on her back. Attack on the mansion. Eren repeated in a dumbfounded manner, his brain trying to comprehend it for a moment before he shook his head. He quickly stood from Rem and walked to her, then helped her to sit and lean her to the tree. After that he went back to the blue Oni. By the gods. She was in very bad condition, there was blood everywhere, she looked paler than usual, she looked so fragile right now. And it brings so much pain to his heart to see her like this. She's fine, it may look bad but Beatrice-sama has cast healing spells on her. Ram commented as she tried to get comfortable in her position. We just don't get a chance to clean her blood. You sure? Eren's eyes never left Rem while asking that, concern and worry were so obvious on his face. Yes. Okay. He nodded, okay. God, how he feels useless right now. He can shatter bones and flesh with a single punch, he can destroy steel and rocks like they were mere woods, and he can move so fast and break sound barriers easily. But for all his power and strength there's nothing he can do to make the girl Make his friend that is now wounded and unconscious get better. He briefly wonders how it would be if he got Castor's power, Paracelsus von Hohenheim mainly, someone who expert in jewel craft, creator of Azoth's sword, an expert in alchemist and also the creator of Philosopher's Stone that is capable to be used to heal any injuries. Don't go there, no need for, what if, or such things, handle something that is important and real. He thought as he turned to Ram. And what about you? Ram is fine. She answered plainly. Minor compared to REM. That's good then. Aaron murmured, he took one deep breath. Okay, tell me what happened, what actually dash. His question went unfinished but answered nonetheless, by another rip and tear that appeared on the space, however this time the portal is unfamiliar, and dare he said, it was ominous. The portal stood tall about 9 feet, the design. It reminds Aaron of a dark portal from dark-themed game. And what is inside it? It was great gods. What in the name of? It was colors. Multiple colors. So many of them, like water in the sea. Normally it would be a nice view, unique at least, however to him. It was wrong. The colors. They all blended in the wrong way, they all wrong, they all mixed and fused together in a twisted way. Where it is supposed to create a new color that is beautiful, it produces some kind of sickness and mockery of colors instead. And what comes out from it is truly a twisted creature, just like the portal. It was what it was. It was a horrifying creature. Its whole body resembles a man that has his spine bent in unnatural and painful ways. Its skin was gray, a decaying and rotting skin, one that belonged to a carcass or cadaver. Its head is a mockery of ape-like creature and mixed with some kind of canine animal. Its sharp dagger-like fangs are crooked, stained, dirty, and covered in saliva. Its eyes are recessed deep inside of its eye holes, so small and barely visible. The only sign that can tell it has eyes is because of eerie glowing yellow light inside the hole. It has arms that are long, probably around 3 feet, with huge claws that resemble a scythe. Abomination. Whatever this creature, whatever its nature, this thing is an abomination, a creature that shouldn't be born. A creature that couldn't be possibly made naturally, for Mother Nature would have never birthed such a twisted creature. This creature was so wrong on a high level to the point it made him balk just by gazing at it, making his mind go blank and trying to process the horror that presented to him. Kill it Aaron-sama. It can call reinforcement. The terrified shriek from Ram snapped him from his dazed state, and in an instant he moved, gone Aaron Wilson, who come from a peaceful world and balked at the idea of carrying a sword everywhere, replaced by Aaron Pendragon, a young man who has faced monsters and madman that responsible for the slaughter of countless lives. The abomination was only able to guttural growl for a second before Excalibur came and sliced its mockery of the head, beheading it in an instant, and the creature dropped to the ground, dead, like a puppet lose its strings. The pseudo-saber stares at the crimson liquid that stained his holy sword and the one that creates a pool beneath its dead body. He turned back to the pink Oni, eyes demanding. What the hell is this? Ram stares back at him, eyes defiant and firm. Ram doesn't know exactly what it is. Did Aaron-sama KN dash? I'm not working under witches, nor do I have a gospel book. Aaron screamed, fury and anger were clear in his voice and his eyes glowed with a hum of power. Stop making assumptions about me working under witches, you are more working for them than me. Don't you dare speak otherwise, you know Roswell works under Echidna and you work under him, don't try to avoid it. As if trying to make his point, he raises Excalibur and points it directly to her face. I'm not in the mood, Ram, not in the mood, now speak. He ordered. Normally he is going to be more rational, calmer, and more reasonable. However, the appearance of this thing and the news of capital destroyed, pretty much burdening his mind, pushing him to the edge. Mostly it was the former, because the presence of the creature carries with it is wrong. So wrong. Ram meanwhile keeps steady, her eyes drifting to the invisible sword that is pointed at her, despite it being naked to normal eyes, but for someone who specializes in wind magic like her, seeing how long it is not a problem. Then her eyes go back to the young man and she sees everything. Aaron-sama, truly being honest. She spoke, her voice was unusual, a mixture of defeat and relief. It is as if she just got confirmation from God. Hearing the tone, Aaron is taken back. He slowly lifts down his sword, his angry features softened a bit, and he stares at her with an indecipherable face. Yes. Yes, I am. I never work for the witches. He said in a calm voice. His eyes locked on Ram's relieved face, confusion gnawing inside him. The way she spoke and looked. Why does she seem relieved? Why is she? Ram knows Ram is beautiful, but don't stare too much, Eren-sama, not in our current situation. His right eye twitched. This girl. The Oni straightened herself, using a tree to help her stand while sighing. Let's focus to get out from here. Eren-sama, invalid and unimportant words can wait later. Ram shall start to explain everything. And the worst part is she is right, his reply can wait until later since they are in a more urgent situation. Doesn't mean he has to like it though. Eren, 0, Ram, 1. Still. He can't help but feel happy inside that they started their banter again. True, they did not talk to each other for only a few days, but... Alright, explain. He said as he kept an eye on his surroundings, trying to make sure they stayed safe. That thing, it comes from the village. Ram informed in a grim voice, her eyes drifted to the carcass and she wrinkled her nose in disdain. Beatrice-sama informed us 20 minutes after you and Emilia-sama departure that she figured out what happened to those children we brought in. She closed her eyes and took several deep breaths. They're no longer children, there is something. The way she said, something, was like spitting venom, as if saying it brings horrifying memories. Something inside them, something that engorges them from the inside, and... It did not need to take a genius to put the puzzle together, and Eren feel he freeze for the second time that day, freeze in terror and horror as he understand what she implying. The village. He croaked out, voice filled with desperation. What happened to the village? Rem and Ram go to the village after that, trying to take the children away, but by the time we arrive, the village is already infested by them. Eren felt all his energy drained hearing that. The village. Great God. The village is gone. Ken, Petra, Luca, Ray, everyone. We tried to stop them, but it was useless. Their numbers were too many. Beatrice-sama teleported us back, however these creatures apparently can teleport too, and... He feels numb. He feels his whole body drop, and it takes everything he has to not fall to his knee. Memories of him spending time with the villager flashed in his eyes for a second, how Petra laughed and hugged him, how Luca smiled, Ken grinned, and everyone else. They all die. I can fix this. I can fix this. He quickly thought of that in order to calm himself. Yes, he can fix this, he can prevent this from happening. Focus on the current thing. Move on. Go forward. Then those. He gestured to the dead creature. Things. How many of them? As far I recall there were only 6 children, so it means now dash. He paused when Ram shook her head, her eyes closed as if she was trying to banish painful memories, and it made his throat become drier. Ram? There are dozens of them. It was only 6 at the beginning, but... Ram took one deep breath, very clear that just remembering it brought shivers to her. They, to put it simply, Eren-sama, they infect the villagers. He felt his heart skip a few beats after that. Infect the villagers. No. Then. The one he just killed. Who was it? He asked, his eyes drifted to the corpse of the depraved creature that laying in ground, the terror that gripped his heart growing bigger. Ram was silent for a few seconds, then she tilted her head away, refusing to look at him. Ram. He takes one step forward to the corpse while looking at the maid. Who? Ram doesn't know, but from the distinct smell. Petra. She answered in a pained voice. It was Petra. That one was supposed to be Petra. And his world crashed down after hearing that confirmation. No. Eren yelled in denial, eyes wide and frantic. He quickly turned to the dead beast and felt bile rise to his throat. This abomination. This creature can't be Petra. He brought Excalibur up, eyes filled with a murderous gleam, his face turned to snarl as he glared at the depraved being below him. Ram obviously knew what he was about to do, and her eyes widened. Wait, Eren-sama, don't dash. Too late. The holy sword was brought down like a sword of a vengeful angel, easily slicing the dead body in a vertical manner, mutilating it, and... The sword of promised victory fell from his hands when he saw what was inside of the abomination body. Petra. He called weakly. Inside the body of the twisted being is not organs, flesh, muscle, and blood are there, yes. But there are no organs. It was another body, a human's body, Petra's body. Her cute and pretty face was deformed, revealing flesh and muscles, there's even bone in there. It was as if she just got hit by very potent acid and got melted alive. The only sign that it was Petra is the usual red ribbon she always wore and necklace that dangling around her neck, necklace that she told him it was given by her mother before she passed away. He did not realize that he was already kneeling in front of the body of the abomination, did not realize that he threw up everything inside his stomach, did not realize that he has tore apart the body with his bare hands to pull what remain of the small girl from the monster's carcass, did not realize that the was crying, weeping while hugging the girl's body seeking any comfort from what left of her. Eren-sama, I have a design suit for you. Eren-sama, can you help me pick the flowers over there? Eren-sama, I've started to learn how to cook, do you want to taste it? Countless memories of Petra flashed in his mind in that instant, her smiling face, her sulking face, her pouting face. Her silly attitude reminds him of his little sister sometimes. How? How could all of this happen? How? Gods above. How? Eren-sama. He fell hand on his shoulder and he turned around, he saw Ram kneeling on his side, her usual stony and stoic face adorned by a look of sympathy for once, there was sadness as well in her eyes. There's nothing we can do right now, we have to leave. Getting to safety is our top priority. She tried to sound calm and steady, but even he can tell that was a lie, a mask, she was as disturbed as him. Well, not to his level, but it was clear that she's not a stranger to the death of someone close to her. She's right. I have to go. I have to. The only console he has now is that he knows he can fix this. He can go back and fix this. He can't fall now. He can't break in here, he has goal to reach, people to save, he has to move on. And Subaru experienced this. How many times did he see his precious people killed and butchered? Yet, he still keeps going. He chuckled darkly inside his mind as he gently placed Petra's body on the ground, his eyes stare at the deformed face of the girl. I will fix this, I swear. He murmured, so low that no one but himself can hear it. He slowly rose to his feet once again and turned to Ram who was waiting for him, already patching Ram and placing her on top of the Earth Dragon along with Amelia. The saddle proved to be big enough since both their figures were quite petite. The Oni noticed that he was already done taking his time and approached him. Ram does not know what happened, but it was obvious that we have to leave now. But may Ram know at least why Eren-sama is not in the capital and goes back to the village? The capital is destroyed. Eren said, prompting the Oni eyes to widen. I did not see it directly with my own eyes, but... He doesn't know how to put it, what should he say to her? That some strange woman comes and tells him to run since some kind of unknown abomination destroyed the capital and is now searching for him. I don't think I have any reason to lie now. So he told her that. Eren-sama does realize just how ridiculous it sounds. Ram asked with narrowed eyes. The great demon beast is powerful, yes, they can bring down an army, but they are not invincible. He can agree with that, while Hakugiai is undoubtedly powerful and dangerous, but it is not the strongest being. Each kingdom can bring it down with their whole army. The only reason it still exists until now is because no one can find its precise location. They are pretty much good at running, hitting, and hiding. Hakugiai attacking capital is suicide decision, there's no way it going to survive if it assault the place where the strongest living being exists directly like that. But it was not Hakugiai that destroyed the capital. Look, I don't know about it as much as you, however that woman I met. Eren bit his lips in uncertainty. I have a guess who she is and if I am right. Ram frowned, albeit it lacked the bite that she always carries in the last few days, she about to open her mouth to ask when she notices another shift in air. And Eren senses it too. They were manifested from the space, tearing reality apart like a fragile glass, 6 of them, hovering above the earth and sky, painting the beautiful night with their mockery appearance as if insulting them. Then they come out, jumping from the portal like a pack of wild animals. Ram, guard Emmy and Rem. Eren ordered in an instant the moment the creatures landed and surrounded them like predators circling their prey. The pink Oni immediately obeyed as she closed herself to her sister and the half-elf. It was clear that she was exhausted and won't be much help, but her eyes show that she is willing to go down for them without any hesitation. Eren knew he should move and cut one of them just when they landed. He knew he should finish them since he was at disadvantage with Ram, Amelia, and Rem needing protection. He knew he should strike first. But he can't. He hesitated. Because no matter how depraved and twisted these abominations are, they were people he knew. People he would protect. And that hesitation cost him. The creatures that mockery of his people move forward, the roar they let out is just like their appearance, twisted and ugly. It wasn't roar, it wasn't shriek, it wasn't shout, no, it sounds that indescribable, it was something that the world did not and will never allow to be heard. And they were fast, not fast at his level but still fast nonetheless. And there are many of them. Eren only managed to cleave one of them before his instincts scream at him that their attack from behind and he move, mana burst empowering his body and pain. It was clumsy, but he managed to block the attack from behind despite the pain that jolted to his body. His breath hitched for a moment but he held down the pain and managed to slice off the creature's clawed hand. He can't do anything about the third attack though. He never gets solid hits ever since he came here, from fighting against Woolgarm and even Betelgeuse, all his injury is not inflicted to him at a point blank, his instinct and superhuman speed make sure of that. But right now, he doesn't have his speed. Something hit him, straight in the chest, and despite there is armor covering his body it was actually enough to make him gag and cough, sputtering for breath. And when he feels pain from his back he realizes that he just got flung away by a hit and must have crashed into something solid. Fuck. I feel it. That thing has servant level strength. Not much but D rank? E rank? It is still far stronger than a normal human, heck even stronger than Elsa. Thrice or more. He tried to stand while gasping for breath, his hand went to his chest and he noted their dent on his armor, indicating just how powerful the attack is. He broke out from his dazed state when his instinct screamed once again and he wasted no time to obey it. Rolling in the ground, he was just in time to avoid a claw that carved the earth where he was moments ago. He quickly rose to his knees and Excalibur gripped once again but another monster was already behind him with its claw ready. Fortunately for him, he's not alone. Fura. A burst of arc-shaped wind launched forward and hit the abomination that was about to strike him. It did not cut it body or kill it but it enough to stop it advance, and in that short spawn Eren already able to regain his composure and strike back, Excalibur easily cleaved the horror into two. He ignored the sick feeling that gnawed inside him and avoided looking at the body to not see those who he knew trapped inside them. He focused on another monster that now started to pay attention to Ram and in a flash he was there. He spun using mana burst once again, and another burst of pain flowed through his body but he forced himself to ignore it and keep pushing forward, knowing that one small mistake might cost him dearly. Even if he is going to return and redo the world he has no intention to watch his friends die in front of him. There are only 4 of them remaining, 4 of creatures that possess strength at level of servant or at least 10 times stronger than men, judging by their strength, it probably more, and he has 3 people to protect right now, not the best situation. It's going to hurt, his magic core still hasn't recovered and his whole body can't handle much mana, but it will be worth it. Mana exploded from his body, followed by pain, but he tried his best to ignore them. He was in front of Ram in a flash, slicing one of the monster's hands and he pulled back his sword, cutting it horizontally into 2. He flows his mana to Excalibur, and once again he feels his brain start to get fuzzy but he ignores it. He keeps pushing forward and brings down the sword, producing an air blast that is sharp enough to cut 2 of the monsters. Only one left. The last one seems to know that it needs to be more careful than its brethren. It did not advance, it was observing him. Beneath those sunken eyes there was intelligence. And it died before it realized what happened. Eren was there in a flash, his face curled to snarl. How dare this thing? How dare this abomination? It infected his people and tried to look sentient. It has no right. It has no right. 3 strikes in less than a second, mutilating the creature in grotesque manner, separating it head, torso, bottom and finishing it by a vertical strike that turned it into pieces of flesh before they even touched the ground. And the moment they did, power left from his body as the young man fell to his knee, teeth gritted, one hand using Excalibur to support himself while the other clutching his head in an attempt to reduce the ache that was lingering in there. Not only his head but his whole body actually, he felt like he started to burn from inside once again, not as bad as when he was unconscious but the pain is still so obvious. Eren-sama, are you okay? Ram's voice is steady as always but there is urgency in there as she is now on his side, trying to help him to stand. Keyword, trying. The armor he wore made him quite heavy. Just give me a minute. He gasped as he fell to his butt, sitting on the ground while trying to control his breath and relax his muscles as much as he could to reduce the ache. They stay silent for a few minutes, the only sound that fills the night is Eren's ragging breath. Okay, I'm calm and okay now. He muttered as he tried to stand. Ram immediately helped him. Eren-sama sure. Ram doesn't want Eren-sama to become a liability, Eren-sama is already a burden enough. Oh ha, ha, very funny. Who was the one that went down after shooting 10 spells? And who was the one that helped Eren-sama a moment ago? Eren, 0, Ram, 2. The pseudo-saber shook his head and took one deep breath. They will return. It was a statement, a fact. Yes, they're connected to one another and capable of creating a portal. There is another silence between them. They both know that their situation now is not helping at all, with both of them weakened, Emilia and Rem that unconscious. It will be a disaster. You must go. He said, breaking the ice, take both of them with you. He glanced at the half-elf and Oni that rested on the earth dragon. And what would Eren-sama do? She asked, face stolid. I will hold them here. They can teleport, it is useless, Eren-sama should come with us. No, they won't chase you, they will chase after me first because I am the main threat, and by the time I'm done, you will be already out from their range. Ram stared at him, her face stoic and without emotion. She knows where this is going, and she is sure Eren is also aware of it too. Something chasing us, Ram. Eren said, voice solemn as he stood and looked at her directly in the eyes. Something that is responsible for the destruction of the capital, is coming for me and Emi. You need to get out now, away from this island, go to Kararaji, seek for safety, whatever happened Emi must went through this alive. Did Eren-sama know that Roswell-sama ordered Ram before his departure to obey every single Eren-sama command? Eren blinked, surprised at the news that came out from nowhere. Well, that explains why Ram seems to accept his order without much problem despite them having issues when fighting the witch cult. That's good. He said with a slight pause. Then right now I order you to leave, go now. Eren-sama is top priority, more than Emilia-sama. Ram said in a droning voice. Your safety is the most important. The blonde fights the urge to bare his teeth at the response, now is not the time to argue like this. The faster she went with Emilia and Rem, the safer they would be. And most importantly, he doesn't want to see them if they die. Ram. I dash. What would Rem and Emilia-sama say when they wake up and know that you are throwing your life away for them? The question made him stop speaking any further. Indeed, what would they say when they are being told about his demise? He never thinks about it actually, Subaru himself also never thinks about it. Because the world will undo, they will go back to the past the moment they died so those all never happened. However, after seeing that there's a possible timeline after Subaru's death, it changes everything, especially what happened to him. The fact he was here right now means the multiverse theory exists, it is true, reality. Not just he landed in a universe that was actually fiction in his world but he got power from another fictional universe. And what if the moment he died? He just got sent to another timeline instead of undoing the world. It means this timeline is still going to exist, Rem, Emilia, and Ram, they are still going to be alive and... I'm sorry. He said, and he sounded so sincere, his face expressing sadness and there was guilt in his eyes. Ram, I'm sorry. Ram's face is stoic as always. Sorry for what? For burdening you further. He answered sadly. When they wake up, they will need a pillar. Rem. Rem will break, but you are still there, you can fix her, broken she will be but you can still stand for her but Emi. He glanced at the half-elf that was unconscious. She will need help. No one will be there for her, you need to build it from zero and Puck. He remembered what that woman said. Puck won't be there. Ram blinked. What Eren-sama means by Puck-sama won't be there. He's dead. He replied flatly. Dead before we even realize it, check on his stone, there's no sign of his presence, the one that destroyed the capital also killed him. He already checked the stone that contained Puck and found it turned to gray, like it was decaying, there is no sign of mana or magic anymore in there, the cat's spirit was truly dead. Ram takes sharp breath, knowing just how powerful the spirit is but now she is being told that he died, killed. I'm sorry. He said again, and he really sounded sorry. I'm sorry Ram. It will be hard for you, you will face a harsh future, I'm sorry. You don't deserve this, not after everything you went through, you should get better, you should. He was not able to finish his words, his eyes that met hers now tilted down, his fist clenched and shaking. Just imagining what Ram will go through brings an ache to his heart. They may not be close recently, but she is still his friend, and he values her dearly. How absurd. He stiffened when heard the stony voice and snapped his eyes up, and he was granted by the sight of Ram sighing. To think Eren-sama will be this useless and stupid. She shook her head and gave him a look. Who does Aaron-sama think he is talking to? Ram is more than capable of handling such mundane things. Ram has done it for years. She bragged, and a smirk adorned her face. Such things won't be a problem for someone as great as Ram. He stared. Stared, stared and stared. Then he threw his head back and laughed. Of course. He shouldn't expect any less from her. He knew what kind of person she is, just like how she knew him. They maybe don't have deep bonds, but they know each other's character, even if it is not holy, but they know the big picture. Then, things will be fine. He asked after regaining his composure. Of course. Ram nodded with confidence. With Ram, everything will be fine. I expect no less from you. He chuckled. The blonde slowly turned to the earth dragon that was only silent ever since the beginning, its eyes staring back at them, and he approached the lizard creature. It is the biggest earth dragon Ram has ever seen. Ram commented as she walked by his side. Indeed, the earth dragon is far bigger than the one he has ever seen as well. Its big size is the reason why it could carry Amelia and Rem without much problem. It is probably still able to carry Ram, but he sure can't carry him as well. Not without moving at maximum speed, and they need to get out from here fast. He stopped when he stood on Rem's and Amelia's unconscious body. His eyes shifted between the blue Oni and the half-elf for a few seconds before he took one deep breath. Ram, can you give me privacy for a moment? I won't be long. As you say, Aaron-sama. The pink Oni take a few steps back, making the distance between them, and she turned away, not even thinking of eavesdropping as she knows just how important this for him. Aaron wastes no time as he knows he has to do this fast. He brings up his cell phone, activating it. He already puts the password to the gallery and separates each picture. He makes the one that every picture he takes when he arrives here open for them. Then he taps the voice recorder and brings it to his lips. And he began to talk. It wasn't long, not even reaching 3 minutes, but he was already done. He dismisses the lock of the phone, putting quick access to the voice recorder, and puts it in the bag on the saddle. Then he brings out Excalibur. He can't use it. It will be useless. So it is best to leave it for them. She said Amelia can use it, then it would be better if it was in her hands. He raises the holy sword up, then he closes his eyes and begins to concentrate. He imagines the sheath, the wind. He compares them to onions. Silly and stupid it sounded, but that was the best analog he can come up with. He imagined the wind as an onion, then he started to peel the skin, one by one, layer by layer. He did that gently so the wind was not rampaging and alerting any of the horrors that might be able to sense him. It takes a moment, but he manages to release Excalibur without causing invisible air to run rampant. And when he opens his eyes, the sword is there, in front of him. Excalibur, the sword of promised victory in all her glory. He feels a sense of peace and hope just by looking at it. This sword is beautiful. Immense. No, even calling it beautiful will be an insult. The description from the novel clearly did not do any justice to it, nor the anime. This sword. This sacred object. Aaron-sama. He turned behind and saw Ram, who was supposed to be far, standing close to him, her pink eyes wide and glued to the holy sword. He could see awe, respect, and joy through her eyes. Truly this sword deserves to be called holy, even just looking at it brings hope and delight. That's... She gulped, taking a few steps closer to him, mesmerized by the noble phantasm. Her name is Excalibur. He was proud that he sounded so calm and collected. It is our only hope to defeat the monster that is seeking us. His eyes reflected bitter light. Unfortunately, I can't use her, my battle with the witch cult taking more of me than I expected. I can use her in the future, but we have no time for that. He glanced at Amelia's sleeping form. One person, though, is able to use her. If what that woman says, then it clearly is not a lie. Ram. See. The pink Oni murmured, her eyes still glued to the sword, never once leaving it. As much as he enjoys seeing Ram enraptured by Excalibur, he knows he has limited time, so he decides to end it. Give it to her, tell her that this sword is my legacy, and... He pulled out his cell phone and showed it to her. There's a message from me to them in here, show it to them. Here is the symbol that will allow you to open my message. He said as he showed the recorder icon. Ram will do that. The pink-haired Oni nodded as she took the phone. She was about to take the sword as well, but found herself hesitating. Nonetheless, the decision was not given to her as Aaron pushed the sword into her hands. Eren-sama gave this to Ram. How will you fight? Eren turned back to the Earth Dragon, eyes locked to the sword strapped in there, and he instantly took it. This will do, he told her while showing it to her. Now it's done, you better leave. Excalibur might draw their attention. Very well. Eren watched as Ram approached the Earth Dragon, her movement calm and steady, but his sharp eyes caught slight hesitation in her steps. He also felt his throat become dry for some reason and... Wait. Without realizing it, he caught the maid's wrist before she could climb the dragon, making her turn to him. Eren-sama. I. It was hard to say, but he kept pushing it. I'm sorry. He blurted. I'm sorry for what I said a moment ago and a few days ago. I'm sorry for yelling at you and I dash. A finger touches his lips, preventing him from speaking any further. Ram knew. She replied, her voice that is always calm and stoic now is soft, just like her sister's. Ram knew Eren-sama never meant it in the first place and... She closed her eyes, taking a breath before reopening them. And Ram also sorry, for being suspicious of Eren-sama, for ever thinking Eren-sama working for the witch. Ram knew that Eren-sama never would do so, but at that time. Ram too caught in her emotion. Forgive Ram. Eren felt his vision become blurry slightly, his breath frozen for a second. Yes, I forgive you and I. Forgive me too. She smiled, kind, gentle, soft, benevolent, beautiful. Ram already did. She muttered in a low voice. Green emerald meets pink flower. The pseudo-saber stares at the pink demon's face, his eyes memorizing her, glued to her cheeks, lips, nose, every single of her facial features. Then he leaned forward, and his lips met hers. She was soft, warm, moist. There was a taste of copper from the blood that was there a moment ago, but it doesn't matter, the delicate and passionate taste overwhelming them. He drowned himself in her, and even if it was slow, but he felt her press herself to him and started to push his lips back. He took it as a sign of approval and used one hand to snake to her wrist and start to pull her to him, capturing her lips, kissing her further, and she replied to him by putting one hand to his chest but did not push, instead like accepting his move. The pleasant sensation and ecstasy feel like hours for him, but in reality, it is not longer than a minute. He pulls back from her, his face marked by red hue, so do hers, clearly embarrassed, or angry maybe in her case, for what just happened. Her eyes momentarily shifted away from him, refusing to meet him, and he gulped, unsure what to say and to do. After a few seconds her eyes shift back to him. Slap. I deserve that. He admitted as he felt a stinging sensation on his cheek. Yes, Eren-sama clearly did. She deadpanned. Kissing a maiden like Ram without her permission, how despicable. Despite the harsh words, there is no biting in there, they are completely blank and dull. Eren's lips curled upward to smirk as he rubbed his red cheek. Forgive me, I am about to go to my death, I don't want to go there while still having my first kiss. So Eren-sama decided to steal Ram's? Eren-sama's second face is not just a hypocrite but also a pervert. Ram is disappointed. You're not even trying to push me away. He pointed. Well, your lips did. He added cheekily. Slap. Okay, I also deserve that. He admitted while putting on a sheepish face. But in all seriousness, there's a beautiful woman in front of me, and... Well... His face flushed a bit. It was very convenient, no? Ram felt her cheeks become warm and turned away. So Eren-sama did admit that Ram is beautiful? Oh please. He rolled his eyes. You also think I'm attractive, and don't deny it, you admit it when we meet for the first time, right? Remember our tea time together where I made my promise to you? The redness in her face intensified. She certainly remembered that day, but she won't give any satisfaction to him. Ram dash. Liar. She closed her mouth after that and glared at him. If looks can kill, then the smug blonde would be writhing on the ground right now. Eren, 1, Ram, 2. You have to go now. He said softly, his eyes darted to the direction where the village was. They will come soon. And you can't use the path. There is an absolutely dangerous entity from where he comes from, and there is a group of monsters from where she comes from as well that leaves her only with one direction. Take the forest, it will be a rough ride but I'm sure you will make it. Ram see, very well then. The pink Oni started to climb to the dragon. She certainly had a hard time since carrying the sword with her, and Eren noticed this and helped her, putting a hand on her hips and pushing her up. Ram sits on the back saddle, fixing her position, and she shoots him a dull look. Sexual harassment. She stated. Please, you touch me more than I touch you. What's that supposed to mean? You change my clothes and wash me along with REM. That dash. Rem told me. The pink-haired Oni felt her face was on flame after that. RM did not touch the improper path. We do not even strip you from everything, only the cloth. You still touch my skin at least, meanwhile I only touched you through cloth. She did not have a reply for that. Aaron, 2, Ram, 2. See Ram? Aaron crossed his arms and looked smug. It's a tie, I never lose. And I don't want this to end with a tie. He declared as he raised his palm and goes into behind the dragon. Ram eyes follow him like a cat eyeing a poisonous snake. What Aaron Sama dash? Smack. Ah. Her words trailed into shriek as the dragon instantly began to run to Forest the moment it rear got slapped by Aaron, the blonde smirk curled into a grin. Stay safe and don't go to the crazy one Ram. He shouted, and it's my win in the end. Her reply of course was unheard of due to the distance and wind from the Earth Dragon's speed. Aaron, 3, Ram, 2. They do not love each other. There's no romance between them. What just happened was simply a moment, a goodbye present, nothing more nothing less. Both of them indeed found each other attractive but love? No, it did not work that way, they still have a very long path to becoming a couple. Perhaps there would be in the future, Aaron can imagine it in a way if he did not pursue his goal to go home. Ram is clearly a girl that he found enjoyable and fun to talk with, she is a woman who has a sense of independence, reminding him of women from his world, and while her vision field is narrow and small but it could be improved. It will take time to fix that, but it is not impossible. But that is only a dream, something that will never happen. It was merely an imagination, he will never spend his whole life with her, not when his family is possibly waiting or searching for him, not when this world is still in chaos like this. He wants to go home above everything. The pseudo-saber keeps his eyes to where the Oni depart, even if the dragon is pretty much out of his sight due to entering the forest and shrouded by countless trees he keeps staring at her direction. Now. Time to drop the blood to the sea of sharks. He takes one deep breath, this going to be hurt, his body while still not in his limit but it closing. It's not like he doesn't have mana to spend, it's more like his body is still not adjusted to use such a large amount of mana, and he is just recovering from a near-death state, from being burned from inside by his own power. He controls his mana before forcefully pushing them all out, letting it explode from his whole body, creating turquoise electric energy that blaring and roaring to the world. At the same time, he felt his body start to burn from inside once again. He let out growls and groans of pain, not even bothering to hold it since it can relieve the pain even if only a little. At the same time he also can feel the lesser spirits nearby start to heal him, even if it is barely effective but any help was useful. He let the mana burst out for 20 seconds before deciding to cut it off and let out a small gasp while controlling his breath, he can't keep going since he needs to be in a state that is capable of fighting after all. And with the amount of mana he just radiates, he is sure those teleporter monsters will come soon. And he sure as hell was the one that was responsible for the capital's destruction also on its way to him. He tensed when he sensed the disturbance surrounding him. They are coming. His hand quickly grabs the sword he holds and he stiffened when he felt something flow inside him, flow to his body, a foreign energy, not aggressive or harming in nature, he felt his magic resistance accept them as matter of fact, though the sensation is unusual. It is almost like having oil flowing to your skin, it is not pleasant but hardly unacceptable. And he felt it. This is. He quickly glanced at the sword he held. While the sheath is normal and looks common but the guard, the hilt and the pommel. It was elegant, the pommel curving into an edge, sharp enough perhaps to be used to stabbing, the guard meanwhile built in fashion that looked like draconic. It did not need to take a genius to know what this sword is. Did you come to me in hope to avenge your master? Or are you a gift from that woman? It doesn't matter, in the end, his decision has been made. He gripped the sword, caressing and feeling the handle. He did not need to be afraid of these creatures anymore. And he will kill them all for daring to infect and corrupt his people. It was 6 before, but now it has multiplied, there are dozens of them, all of them appear almost at the same time, the gap was less than a few seconds. They come from all his direction, above, front, behind, left, and right, surrounding him like he is a single cattle facing against a pack of wolves. They would be surprised to find instead a cattle they got dragon. They all came out, lunged at him, they all shrieked, letting out an inhumane and twisted voice, their claws raised menacingly, their movement was fast, swift, coordinated, and in perfect sync. Divine protection of first attack immunity. Divine protection of preceding attack immunity. Divine protection of night blessing. Divine protection of the war god. But Eren sees them all very clear. The dragon sword reed is drawn out from its seal, the legendary sword gleaming with power and practically humming, seeming eager to cut down those that stood against him. And he is more than happy to oblige. Bodies split into two, limbs ripped from their torso, heads rolling or sliced away. Their skins that were thick and can handle spells that are superior to bullets was nothing to him. Eren dances among the monsters, killing and slaughtering them like a child kicking a bunch of Legos figures. He was fast, undoubtedly. Those monsters were also fast, but he was simply faster, he was a blur, almost a flash, there was no waste in his movement. Every time his sword swings one monster dies, and when his sword is out of range to protect him his hand or legs extend and smack the abomination away, breaking and shattering their bones like they were rag dolls instead of a creature that can put a giant to shame. There are dozens of these creatures, reaching 100 perhaps, but he slaughtered them all in less than 5 minutes, killing them all like they were a pack of rabbit before a lion. Yet, more of them are still coming. Another wave of portals opened, ripped the space around him, they all like maws that open in reality, spewing blasphemous and twisted monsters who shriek and roar while lunging down at the young man who opposes them all. Eren merely glared at them, then he let out a roar, his own roar, humane and mundane, but the meaning behind it was clear, he did not fear them, and he will make them pay for killing those he holds dear. Claws meet a blade, and claws give in. Steel meets bones, and bones are crushed. The monsters seem endless, they all keep spewing from the portals, but Eren was tireless. He keeps moving. His face stony, cold fury, he cut them all with reed, his punches and kicks shatter their bones and muscles. His performance and movement were inhumane and so inspiring, a testimony of his status as a servant, a being that possesses a fragment of the power of heroic spirit. They come and he kills them. They keep coming and he slaughters them. He lost track of time, how long he did that, how many monsters he killed and crushed, but in the end they are not infinite nor limitless as no more portal popped around him. He panted as he held his posture, one hand holding a sword while the other clenched into fist and legs spread, a turquoise-colored energy shrouding his figure like a blanket. His breath heavy and ragged but his eyes stay sharp, observing his surroundings keenly. He looks tired but his body keeps tense, never once his muscles relax and he is always ready if there's another attack. His surroundings was a mess, blood and torn flesh marred the earth, trees destroyed and uprooted, corpses of the twisted creature everywhere, their bodies mutilated and chopped, there are also many that look crushed and have their bodies bent into strange and impossible angles. Sensing there was no more enemy, Eren allowed his body to slowly, and with a great hesitation, relax, he took a few deep breaths to calm himself before lowering his stance and posture. After that he raised the sword in front of him and stared at it. Shit, no wonder why Sword Saint considered OP. He murmured. The divine protection of the Sword Saint. The moment someone receives them they are able to use Reed, the dragon sword that will imbue the wielder with their predecessor divine protection, each one they gain instantly locked to the divine protection of the Sword Saint. And seeing the Sword Saint's family is a family that has lived straight for 400 years, no wonder each of them is a monster and Reinhard himself is so powerful. No. There's a hidden reason why Reinhard became powerful and surpassed even the first saint. In canon he was stated to be a child that was beloved by the world but it was implied something happened to him, the reason why Reinhard OP in the first place. And while he is not sure why in canon but in here, he has his guess what actually happened. And that also would explain why his mother went into a coma. It was then he suddenly felt a chill crawling to his spine and started to spread to his whole body. A dreading sensation started to fill his stomach and all his instincts screaming and yelling at him to run, to flee from where he currently is, to abandon everything and escape, to anywhere except here. He recognizes what coming at that moment. He coming for him, the one that destroys the capital of Lugnica and kills Reinhard van Astria, the main problem of this arc. He did not get any chance to think or prepare himself as he suddenly felt a painful headache strike his mind. He let out a scream, a loud and high-pitched scream that resembled a shriek, his vision become dark and hazy, his foot give up and he fall to his knee, all while screaming bloody murder. It hurt. It hurt. It hurt. It is like there are countless needles piercing his brain directly. It only lasted for a few seconds, but for him it seems like an eternity. His calm and controlled breath becomes heavy once again as he tries to regain his composure. It works though, as his vision that blurs slowly becomes clear, his legs that weak regain their strength. What just happened? He thought as he slowly rose to his feet once again, his head still in pain, and he hear ring inside his ears, but it wasn't bad anymore, he can hear and see like. He blinked when he noticed something strange with his surroundings. No, not strange but wrong. So wrong. The forest and everything. They are still there, but the space, the wind, the reality. They all blur, they all look like images from hallucination. An off-focus photograph, the trees and the area were always shifting, like a mist, and sometimes he saw they doubled or tripled. They were also adorned by a mixture of strange colors, similar to a kaleidoscope. Even the ground where he stands is also not immune from that effect, except for him, everything looks like a place that does not belong to reality. It is as if he's in another world now, another dimension. His hand went to read slowly, and to his shock he found the sword empty. When he held it before, the sword was humming with power, it was growling with enthusiasm, he could feel it, he could feel the weapon eager to be used, and even happy when he used it to slay those monsters. But now, not anymore. It died. So do the divine protection that flows within him. You're right, Reinhard van Astria is strong, the strongest as matter of fact. But you must know that he is the worst opponent for him, a natural enemy, and Reinhard van Astria walked straight to him. The woman's words echoed in his head, and he felt his hand that clenched reed begin to shake. So that's why Reinhard loses, he loses his divine protection. He thought grimly. Just like Theoresia van Astria, who lost her power when she fought against Hakugiai, the inheritor of Sword Saint also died due to losing his power. He doesn't know whether he should balk or laugh at the irony. He never had a chance to decide as the world began to shake, literally. The ground where he stood trembled, quaking, he lost his balance and stumbled, but thankfully he managed to get to one knee while one hand tapping the shaking earth as support so he did not completely fall. Earthquake? What actually? He raises his head to see what actually happens and freezes at the sight that was presented before him. Then he let out a chuckle. It was not his usual laugh, it was hollow, blank, empty, it was a laugh that people let out when despair swallows them. Ha, ha, ha. He chuckled mirthlessly. You are shitting me. This must be a joke, it has to be a joke, there is no way. It was humongous, massive, big, titan, a mountain compared to him, literally. It was so big to the point that the creature's size dwarfed him like a man standing before a worm. And giving the thing's true nature, it would be a very accurate analog. For what human in front of being like him? No wonder that woman was terrified of him. His massive webbed hands were like the hand of death, they gripped small mountains like they were a mere pillar for him, they crushed them like they were fragile glass. His head is a mockery of octopus and man, shaped into bulbous that seems pulsing every time. His eye's color is sick yellow, glowing with menacing and unkind light. And instead of the mouth it was thin tentacles that flailed in a blasphemous way. Gigantic and scaled wings that dwarfed the mountain spread from his back, covering the sky and casting a shadow on the world. Eren only can mutter one word, one name the moment he sees this creature. Indeed, he never looked at the depiction properly or knew how its appearance was supposed to be, but he has seen enough through the fan art, and what stood before him. Cthulhu. Is Cthulhu, the sleeper of Relia, the high priest of the Great Old One, the Great Dreamer and the Slumbering One. As if hearing his name called, the eldritch abomination's face focused on his direction. The distance between them was far, a dozen kilometers at least, but Eren feels like the sleeper was very close to him. The eldritch monster let out blood-curdling roar, loud and so powerful as the sheer force it possessed more than enough ripped out the trees and everything it washed over. Even from far Eren felt the wind blow him violently, and he was forced to use reed, by stabbing it to the ground, so he was not blasted away while the trees and everything around him got blown from the force of the roar and vibration it brought. The blonde stare at the eldritch abomination with wide eyes, terror and horror expressed clearly on his face as he noted his surrounding. He destroys most everything around him just by a roar, the distance between them not small, and yet it was almost like a gale of wind just ran through him. He takes a step back, fear crawling inside his mind as he finds Cthulhu glaring at him, and he can sense it, he can see it, he can tell the wicked pleasure the sleeper feels the moment he found him. Then his massive hand extended and reached for him. For something that big, Cthulhu is fast, inhumanely fast. Then again, since when does big mean slow? Humans are very big compared to ants, and humans are clearly faster than them. He felt his body move, the moment the hand raised he was already meters away from where he was and just in time to avoid the massive webbed hand that slammed and turned the ground into perfect chunks of dirt, crater, and also creating another earthquake. He did not even get a chance to relax because as soon as he dodged that attack the massive hand decided to go after him by dragging the earth with it, trying to capture him. So he was forced to jump as high as he could and dodge the hand that was only a second away from grabbing him. He landed about a few kilometers away from where he was, eyes wide and breath heavy. Truthfully, he did not see those attacks coming. Not at all. Well, he did see them but he couldn't react fast enough. He saw the eldritch abomination move but he found himself freezing. Not to mention it was so big. The hand is almost as big as a skyscraper. And yet, he dodged those two attacks. How? He glanced at the sword he held. The sword was powerful and bright a moment ago. He could feel it in his skin despite wearing gauntlet. But right now he no longer can feel it and... No, it's still there. The power is still there, the divine protection still there, they are the one that protects him, but they are not strong as before, they have dimmed. Weakened. Yet they are still there. And even if they are only small, he will gladly accept any help he can get. He quickly searches for the power that can be used. His enemy is a cosmic monster and he can't hope to do devastating damage, so he searches for power that is going to help him. And he found it. Eren rushed forward with the legendary sword ready once again. Mana burst out from his back and he broke the speed barrier for a moment, spinning in his movement. He also enchanted Reed to make it stronger before delivering a clean spinning slash to Cthulhu backhand. Divine protection of the death god. Much to his surprise, it did hurt the eldritch abomination. A liquid with various colors spurt out from where he attacked, not deep enough to do something major and perhaps it only scratched, but it was enough to draw what is supposed to be blood. What shocked him more is that as soon those wounds appeared, it disappeared in an instant as the eldritch monster's flesh bulged and spewed out the injured part while a new one replaced it. What the fuck? Divine protection of the death god ensures that any wounds and injuries that are inflicted stay there, forever even if he is willing it, but... It was then that the hand that he attacked quickly moved backward to backhand him. And it wasn't divine protection that warned him this time but his instinct. He already running backward just after giving that attack, his legs twisted and... He is not fast enough. The backhand of the eldritch abomination hit him in full force. Some people compared losing consciousness to falling asleep. It wasn't like that at all. While there were many similarities between them to an outside observer, they were two fundamentally different states. For one thing, people don't dream when they fall unconscious like when they sleep. Their mind doesn't create the brainwaves necessary to dream, so most people have no memory of the time they lose consciousness. To them, it is like no time passes at all from the moment they fall unconscious to the second they wake up. From their perspective it feels like they were just blinked, only to suddenly find themselves someplace else. Which is why Eren is sure he must be just blacked out. And his body hurt. A lot, like really a lot. He tried to move his arms but he was hit with intense pain to the point he let out a scream, but that only came out as a gurgle. He tried to move his legs and meet at the same result. He tries to move his head and it is also the same, except it still can move. And it was then he noticed that both his arms and legs were crushed, they bended into awkward and inhumane angles, part of his left hand even missing and looked just torn apart. And it was then he also realized that he was just thrown away for about dozens kilometers from where he was, judging from the trail of destroyed trees and earth that came from his direction. The speed that hurled him must be so fast that it was enough to break through the tarmac, his body partially burying itself into the earth beneath, and still kept going, like a comet crashing onto the earth. He is barely conscious now, even if he is aware of his surroundings, but his mind was filled with nothing but pain, a very terrible pain. Obviously because his body right now looks like a broken doll, which is very ironic considering he did the same thing to Betelgeuse. And is it just him or? The moon was broken. And its color is also black instead of bright. Then suddenly he felt a shadow cast over him, forcing him to look upward. He should never do that. He was granted by the sight of the sleeper that looming over him, the cosmic creature was directly staring at him, only a few meters away from him. His eyes widened as he got a better view of the horrid beast. Up close he could see its flesh was ever shifting. Its glowing yellow eyes never remained stationary. Rather they seemed to float on the surface. Then he watched in horror as the tentacles on the beast's face moved to reveal the leech-like mouth. Then he felt something begin to probe his mind. The one that probed was not just his mind, but his soul as well. It can't be described by words. The best idiom his barely conscious mind can make is that he was naked as a baby to this monster, and he felt like every layer of his skin began to be peeled, painfully, and slowly, and then something flowed inside his very being through every single orifice in his body. The corrupted being that infected his very soul. Flood of madness and horror and pain and raw, shrieking of insanity so intense it chilled him to his soul, all running rampant through his brain without his consent or any response to his attempts to fight it off. What the giant horror did was not merely assaulting his physical form, it was laying waste to the territory of his soul, the most hideous indignity imaginable. He couldn't move, couldn't breathe, couldn't think. All he could do was helplessly lay in the ground as the insanity seeped to his very existence through the great old one stationary eyes. He wants something. Anything. Anything at all to distract that painful and utterly wrong madness that violates his very existence. Please, let anything at all come now, he would welcome even death at this point. Just to get away from that sense of formless doom that filled the air of the mad world around him. But even that was not granted to him. So he screams, he howls, he shrieks, he cries, he yells, but it was all in vain. He is mine. My Yaini. He is my Yaini. You can't take him. You can't take him. He is mine. He is mine. 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 Mimi. And in the middle of his own scream and madness that corrupted his existence, he hears another scream, roar, and shriek, filled with nothing but deep anger that makes the world itself shudder. Still he did not stop screaming, not even when his vision became black. If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later, bye bye.